emphasizing that one, that is the the theory building. So what is the point of discussing of this one, that is the theory building, and how does this theory building is taking place in research methodology? Because whenever we studied research methodology in our master's course, or we taught you research methodology in master's course, we didn't tell you anything about this one, that is the theory building or theory development. So as because in master's research methodology, uh, the syllabus is more or less very linear in nature. This is so, no ups and downs, nothing critical, no speciality. So these things were not told. Now see, whenever you are doing the research, ultimately you are trying to show something new, and this new, you can say, some bit of empirical thing from your own knowledge, from your study, or rather from the data you collected. From that data, you are inferring something, or rather, there can be another approach of research. That is what, from all the species of elements, species of ideas, the very micro ideas, and by clubbing all the micro ideas, taking one after another, and ultimately you are going to the very broader perspective. And from that perspective, if you see the subject, if you see the very topic with a hawk's eye, with the eye of a hawk, then you can see that one, that is your peripherals, or rather your view, your sight is covering the whole concepts therein. And so that you can predict something, you can say something clearly, that is from that perspective. If I say that is applicable to each and every segment of that division, that is what we are talking about. We can say that one, that is the theoretical perspective. So theory is nothing but the generalization, a kind of broader idea, and to develop the very broader idea which can take each and every entity within it is obviously some kind of troublesome as well as intuitive job. And you see, in research, I'm not saying that when those who are doing the administrative research, or rather some bit of critical research also, everyone is not developing the theory. Might be they are reflecting their mind, they are trying to reflect their mind on a specific idea or specific topic and extending the very horizon of knowledge. But whenever you are talking about the very theory, so you are not only extending the idea, but you are trying to make some guiding principles. You are trying to make some postulates. You are trying to make some laws, or rather canons. All these key terms or terminologies, what I'm saying, might be this is in the Ranganathan's term, but you can devoid of this one also. That is, you cannot keep yourself confined with the Ranganathan's vocabulary. This is what, this is something which is rather, you can say, the all embracing perspective. Now with this deliberation, right now I am rather going for this one. So one after another, I will try to demystify that one. I think it will require 1 or 2 days to cover it up. So theory building, and first of all, you see one very well known deliberation by Karl Popper. That is, theories are nets cast to catch what we call the world. That is what to rationalize, to explain, and to master it. We endeavor to make the mess even finer and finer. We endeavor to make the mess even finer and finer. That is what the theories are. And almost all the times, I also told you, and several times, a lot of seminars have already been held. We arranged one seminar also in our department regarding this theoretical underpinning of in-library and information science. So, what appears to this discipline is we are having theories, and most of the cases, or almost all the cases, the theories are having a kind of footprint or the background where Ranganathan is linked. And at the same time, you can say some of the theories or most of the theories, you can't say that one that is a Ranganathan is the only fellow, but Ranganathan's theory or Ranganathan's propositions were also greatly influenced by Indian logic and Indian psychology, or rather, you can say that on Oriental psychology. And not only Oriental psychology, but at the same time, Western psychology also played some bit of role regarding the theory building. So, whenever we study library and information science, we usually see that one. It starts with five, or the main subject. It starts with five theories, and which are called as the laws of library and information science. So, this is why theories are nets cast to catch what we call the world. In our case, if we say that word, library and information science, our world, then say that one. Just by saying these five laws, you can say what you want to mean. What is library and information science? Now, book, the very term Ranganathan used in his time, that was covering almost all the then knowledge of that time. But right now, the connotation of the very term book has already been changed, and right now you can safely mm, change the word books, not as a law of Raghunathan or not as laws of Raghunathan. Whenever you are analyzing it, just replace this book with anything like you see the information, knowledge, then right to information. So you will see that one. Each and every time these five propositions are apparently looks very much applicable, apparently looks to very much adherent to the society, adherent to the existing world, adherent to the existing knowledge society, information society, and it is giving you the power to rationalize that one, to explain that one, and at the same time to master that one. And so that's why the theories are rather, it can help give your own discipline a strong backbone with which it can stand erect for the times to come, as well as it can show itself that is, yes, I am mature enough. So that is what we that is the perspective of theory. And theory is usually generated or conceived or is having two purposes. One is the understanding, and another one is the prediction. And now here comes the problem with humanities and social science and the science. In science, whenever you were saying the law of gravity, law of force, laws of motions, or laws of simple pendulum, laws of evolution. So in science, different types of sciences like pure sciences or applied sciences. So you can say that one, that is in a definitive term, you can say that one So yes, this is the theory, and this theory is valid in each and every place, everywhere where that conditions are valid. Conditions means the condition that are laid down in the theory itself. And so, first of all, you see, the theory starts with some bit of prediction, and then it is having the understanding also. Now, whenever Wilbur and Orville Wright, the Wright brothers, they try to develop the planes of today, that is the air or flights, you can say that one. So, whenever they started this one, they had one understanding, that is the understanding of law of gravity. The law of gravity, as we understand, that is everything is rather pulled to the core of the earth, rather it actually gets pulled at the core of the earth. So Wilbur and Orville understood the very principle, and they predicted that one, that anyhow we have to defy the gravitational force so that we can keep ourselves flying. So these purposes of the theory, that is very important. One is what you are understanding or what you are predicting. So see, this one is having some kind of resemblance with your hypothesis. And understanding of that, or now understanding of what, that is what the document, what the information, what the body of information you gather, and the interrelationships they are in. If you understood each and every fragment of it, and you know the activities and the works embedded therein, you can say that one, yes, this is rather the actions of each and every entity, as well as this is the cumulative action of all the entities together. So I understood that one. So I have this number of entities, each and every entity has this action, and each and every entity, whenever these actions are clubbed, I can say that one, all the entities, as well as I can say the agglomeration of actions. So I understood that one, and from that understanding, you are predicting something. If I do this, then all the entities, or rather the interrelated entities, and their actions will be governed by my prediction, with my prediction. That is what your understanding is. Just for example, now see, okay, I'm not going to give you any kind of example regarding computer because this is not a class of computer. Now say understanding. Um, I will tell you, I think it's there in the slide, but this particular presentation is having so many slides. Okay. So now, one thing is that, uh, have you ever heard one particular theory named as grounded theory?
Yes, sir.
Grounded theory, what is this?
I can't remember.
That is not grounded theory, rather, there is a grounded approach. Now, see, what is that? Grounded approach. And here, why I am saying this one, that is a grounded approach in this perspective. Now, see, we do literature review, we do study the subject, or rather, we try to find out the gap. Once we find out the gap, or I identify that one, yes, we can work on that matter. So, obviously, we try to find out the related literature, obviously related, penumbral, as well as partially alien, or having some bit of interlinking between penumbral and alien. We try to identify those things. But suppose you want to do some research where literary warrant are not that much available, but you have to do that research. What will you do? See, you do not have that much of existing, pre existing literature, or pertinent literature is not at all available. So, what you can do? One thing is that you can stop your research as because literary warrant is not available, literature is not available, or rather, you can start your own research from scratch itself. Scratch. Now, see, during this COVID pandemic, each and every institution, or rather, every research and development institutions, particularly almost all territorial jurisdiction in the world or throughout the globe, most important research organizations, they started doing research or they started doing something to develop the COVID vaccine. Now, problem is that COVID vaccine is equivalent to, or rather, it is having some bit of relation to the SARS virus, but it is not. It is having its different structure, its protein structure is different, its DNA, RNA structure is different, its type of attack is different, its camouflaging technique is different, and its you can say that on manifestation is also different. And at the same time, what happened, most of the researchers on this ground, they were having literature, but those literatures were very distant of it, or rather you can say that on the very alien literature, not the umbral. If you go for the apupa pattern, it was not umbral, nor even the penumbral one. So they started that thing of their own, that is just trying to see that one, what is the structure of coronavirus, how the RNA is rather there, what is the structure of DNA, structure of RNA, how do they penetrate. So everything they started from the scratch, and from that scratch, as well as by predicting, by understanding their relationship, similarity with other or dissimilarity with other, a bit of understanding with the others. So they developed some, or they manufactured, invented some vaccines. Now, see, they can't say that one, these vaccines are foolproof, as because these vaccines are produced on the basis of prediction. Prediction, that is, it can do. We do not have full understanding of that one, but we are predicting that one that can. So, a process of theory building is rather started. So once you can finalize, you will understand the full activity, or rather full, that is the total anatomical and physiological structure of that very body, then only you will understand it fully, and you can, your prediction will become a kind of finalization, so that you do not have to predict, rather you can say that one in definitive term or in finite term, you can say that, or yes, we already identified what COVID is, and at the same time how to kill it. So before development of the theory, you have these two aspects, that is the understanding and prediction. So now the definition. So it is nothing but a coherent set of general propositions. See this one, coherent sets of general propositions used as principles. See, the first term is theory, main term, but in between the definition use so many things. Coherent set of general propositions, one thing, propositions used as principles of explanation of the apparent relationship of certain observed phenomena. So many things are there in the definition itself. Okay. Now what? Start from back. Apparent relationship of certain observed phenomena. Certain observed phenomena, you know that one. That is what, in our case, if you see the library itself, you can say that one. The psychology of users. So if I give you the example like that one, the psychology of users for disowning the public libraries or disowning the printed document in favor of the digital document, if you say that one, and if you try to go for a theory, so your observed phenomena is, that is, very lesser use of the libraries or rather physical documents. Certain observed people are not using right now the printed document. Now, apparent relationship. Why? Now, principles of explanation. Now, obviously, we go for that one, general proposition. Why people are not using this one? What is the relationship between the internet, www, and the books? Is it really in explanation? So you are formulating different propositions, and at the same time you are trying to establish that one, explaining that one. Electronic formats are having their advantages as because they are portable. Electronic resources are very much gadget dependent, but at the same time the gadgets are also portable with the existing born natives or digital natives. So that's why they are more prone to the digital resources than that of the printed resources. Day by the day, the broadband and the network facilities are increasing. Right now, we are seeing that one, the 4G, 5G, these concepts are there. Although India is not at all prepared for 5G, but each and every companies, mobile companies, cell phone companies has already started selling the 5G telephones. So 5G mobile sets, and people are rather hurriedly they are procuring that one. None of them know that why at which time this phone will be useful, but people are using that. So now, what you have to do whenever you are trying to develop a theory, you must have to go for some general propositions. One, two, three, four, five, might be one, might be two, might be three. It's not, it's dependent on the topic itself. Now, whenever you are saying those propositions, as for example, I'm saying that one, that is, Joydeep is a very sober boy. So this is what a general proposition. Now I have to explain the this one used as principle. Why I am saying this one? Now I am saying what is the definition of sober and how this sober, or rather this very aspect, the very quality is related with joy. Now, once I'm saying this one, can there be other variations? So, if those variations are there, how Joydeep is resolving that issue? Now, obviously, if all principles I develop and if their relationships can be governed by these general propositions, then I can say definitely yes. Any people having those characteristics like Jaideep Burman can be called as sober. So you can say that one theory developed based on the principles and the relationship. So this is what. Okay. So these theory developments, although I'm saying this one is concept or construct, now you see. Now the concept. Now I'm going to much deeper. Now, what is the concept? A generalized idea about a class or objects. attributes, occurrences, or processes that has been given a name. This is known as concept. Construct. A generalized idea about a class of objects, attributes, occurrences, or processes that has been given a name. This is a concept. Now, you can say that one, why this is the concept. Now, see, this particular last thing is having a very, very important, you say, this is very important uh, property of the concept. There's one thing which is not having name, although this is a concept, but you cannot tell that one, you cannot say that one, you cannot express that one explicitly. And once you cannot state that one explicitly, this is not called as this will remain as a tacit one, as because you cannot name it, you cannot tell what it is. So obviously you cannot develop any concept on that. As for example, right now what I am saying, many of the things you are understanding, many of the things you are not understanding, many of the concepts you are getting, because I am saying concept, it is having a name, concept, and that's for why you are trying to get the very idea of concept. But if I say that one is a blank, and if I say this one, then you would ask me like that one, that is, what is this? Actually, what you are trying to say with this very paragraph, a generalized idea, what does it mean? So I'm saying that this is the definition of concept. So this is concept. Now, if I say you in Bengali, there is one very word, and in English also. That is what you can say. You say, I think. Now, see, whenever you were saying you say, I think, so these junction pauses, these are not concept at all. These are the junction pauses. It gives you some bit of time for organizing your ideas. It gives you some bit of time. It gives you to correlate the ideas. It gives your user some bit of time to get themselves within the context itself or context of the communication. So this is why. So each and every language is having this one. So once these are not the concept in that sense, because in Bengali, suppose someone is, you are asking Joydeep, or rather Joydeep is asking Shagata like that one, uh, where are you going, কোথায় যাচ্ছিস, or where, and Shagata is saying that one, যেদিকে চোখ যায়. Now once you are saying that one, যেদিকে চোখ যায়, অথবা, but you can say that one. So if you go to the villages or like that one, if villages or remote areas right now, no one says like that, but still the story is same for everywhere. So suppose you are asking someone where the village is, and he is like saying you, এই দূরে ওই যে বটগাছটা দেখা যায় তার পাশে. Now you see, these are not the concepts. So, because there is rather the abnormality, there is the anomalies, you cannot say what those things are. So, concept is a generalized idea about a class of objects. It is having its attribute, it is having its occurrences, it is having its processes, and so it is having a name. As for example, you see, you have the spectacles. I'm also having a spectacle. So it's a class of objects. It is having its own attributes, occurrences. You can have more than one. Or processes. That is the progressive one, or rather bifocal one. Then you right now the color lenses are also available. One day in the morning you can get the blue glass. In the evening you can have one kind of brown glasses. So you can have a lot of things. So this is what is a concept. So constant. So you first have to understand this one, the very idea of the concept, each and every concept must have a name. Without a name, you cannot say that is a concept. এখন যদি কেউ বলে যে এই তো সেদিন একটা ইয়ে পেলাম, now what does it mean? In Bengali, this iye, that is Roshoi Antosto Eka, iye. Iye is a very troublesome term, you know. If you say I got one iye, now people will be puzzled. No concept will be formed. Nothing will be formed with that very one. And obviously, the theory can only be developed where the concept is concrete. So if you cannot identify the concept, if the concept is not identifiable or unidentifiable, if the concept is not clear, you cannot say that one that is the concept. Building blocks that abstract reality. Building blocks that abstract reality and leadership, productivity, and more. Building blocks that abstract reality, leadership, productivity, model, or building blocks, then leadership, see, gross national product. I said these are the examples. And now, next one. Now, see, this is a ladder of abstraction for concepts. Now, if you go from bottom upward approach or if you go from bottom to up, so you will see that one increasingly more abstract, increasingly more abstract. Okay. Now, reality, first of all, a ladder of abstraction, the reality. What actually this one means reality. Now, you are going for that one, the banana is a part of that one, then fruit is a part of that one, then you are going for the vegetation. So vegetation, and under vegetation you will get that one fruit, banana, but in reality lot of other things are there. So these are obviously, if you say vegetation, now fruit, banana, and reality. Now here the problem is, if I say onion, now will you put it under vegetation? See, the abstraction is what? In real, what is that? But in banana, you can specify that one, what banana is. Now you are getting fruit. Now you can go for the crop reality, then you can see the cereals, then you can go for the crops, then again vegetation. So by this way you can abstract your concepts. So whenever you are talking about vegetation, everything, all entities, all concepts under this will come here, and obviously whenever you will go to the very last one, you will get the reality. Reality means the most concrete one. Okay, so most concrete one is the most abstract also. That is most concrete one means this is what is the real vegetation. So this one. But see, this is what example of one banana here. So banana, you can see that one, that is, yes, the concept is clear. Reality, you can reality, so banana, you can say that one, yes, it is the part of a fruit. You can go for that, it is rather a vegetation. So obviously you can go from down to top and say banana is a part of this is a ladder of abstractions, a ladder of abstraction for the concepts. And now, you being a researcher, what you do? Okay. No, no, no. Now, you being a researcher, you operate at two levels. One level is the abstract level, another one is the empirical level. In abstract level, you have two things: concepts, proposition. In empirical level, you have two things: variables, hypothesis. Now, give me the. I do not know whether you people are listening or not. Might be this one is a bit of taxing for you, or mm, giving you some kind of goosebump, because right now lot of heat wave is going on. Let me know from you, that is, you are the potential researchers. You are going to operate in two levels. Okay. Now, one is the abstract level. It is having the concept and proposition. Another one is the empirical level, that is variables and hypothesis. Now, let me ask you something. What do you mean by abstract level and empirical level?
Sir,
Jaideep? Yes.
in abstract level, the research gap, the what is the research gap? It is the abstract level.
Okay, then just you tell me that one. That is, what do you mean by the abstract level? What according to is the abstract level? What according to is the empirical level? That two things will suffice. Okay. Where is the abstract level? What does it mean? The abstract level. And then you say what is the empirical level. It would be always better if you give example. Then your idea will be much more concrete. Okay. So give one example of abstract level, and another one is Shagota.
Sir, when we are doing literature review, then we are dealing with abstract level. From literature review, we get concepts and brief propositions or assumptions. Then when we start doing survey for getting data, then we are dealing with empirical level.
See,
Abstract
but
level is qualitative. Mm,
don't. If you say like that, people will simply start arguing with you, because lot of people are there in the world who thinks that one empirical research is the only research which is having the real value, as because it is empirical, it can be seen, it can be judged, it can be validated. Okay, specifically the social science fellows, they always try to go for this one, that is the empirical way. They took variable, they usually take variable, they define hypothesis, and from the hypothesis they try to reach to a particular goal. Now, uh, abstract level of research is something where you rightly stated that one in literature review, you have to show your intuit, you have to show your analytical power, you have to show your analytical mind, critical analysis, critical mind. That is how you can represent one thing in a very precisely. There's a lot of existing literature is there. From that literature, how you can mine the core from that one. Obviously this is the part of abstraction. So you have to identify the concepts, and then you have to go for the propositions, and from that proposition you can say that one, these propositions are the backbones of your development of the principles and correlationship development with the object itself. That is the abstract level. And in empirical level, we try to go for the variables, and then we also make the hypothesis. Now, people will say that one, whenever we are dealing hypothesis, we are rather making abstract, but no. Hypothesis is usually done based on the empirical aspect itself. And abstraction, whenever the abstraction is there, you cannot develop any hypothesis. Now, Now see why I'm saying this one to you. Okay, let me show you two things here. Just wait for a while, you will understand. Now I'm going to show you one very dangerous concept. Okay, so try to keep your heart controlled. Now you got this one. So okay, now see this is what this one, right side one,
Original image of a frog.
frog. So this is a frog. Now you see this is empirical one. You can understand that one. This is frog, and you can go for different identifying variables. That is where these frogs are. That is color is a variable. Then the soil is a variable. Then hypothesis in which one. So now here you see this is also a frog. First one, but if I do not write frog under this picture, you won't understand that one. This is a frog. This is what is the abstract one because this frog is crying because of this sunlight and because no water is there. Okay, so this frog is crying. You see these eye drops? These very teeny eye drops are there, and this is rather the sun, and this frog is crying as because this frog. So, what I told you, the concept, the sun, what I told you, the eye, what I told you, crying, what I told you, no water. So, everything I am trying to say within the picture might be these concepts are sublime to this one, or rather subjugated, or rather very much implicit with this figure or this picture. But this is what is there, and that is known as the concepts and propositions. And you usually work with these two. The more abstract is the level, the more problem will there be. You have to identify, you have to rationalize that one, and more empirical level will be there. It will be easier for you to understand. So, got the point? Okay. Now we are going for this one, that is the see the definition of abstract. In theory development, the level of knowledge expressing a concept that exists only as an idea or a quality apart from an object. In theory development, the level of knowledge expressing a concept that exists only as an idea or a quality apart from object. In true sense, right now, you two fellows, or rather you three fellows, are having some bit of abstract idea of developing or rather doing your PhD. You haven't finalized it. You didn't ponder over it. You might have some bit of thinking of that one, but you didn't finalize that one. So a kind of abstraction, that is the concept is there, exists only as an idea. It's in your idea plane, equality, apart from an object. So you haven't finalized the core on which your ideas, on which all of your logic will revolve around. It's not there. So that is what, that's why it is rather abstract level. And empirical level of knowledge is already there, and it's reflecting that which is verifiable by experience or observation. Already the level of knowledge is there. Public library is not running very well. Let me see that one, how far this proposition is true. So better you try to verify it with the experience and observation. This is the two aspect of abstract level and empirical level. Now conceptualization, whenever we are saying that one, the process of clarifying what we mean by a concept, conceptualization. So once a concept where the name should be there, so a name is should be must be there, and conceptualization is the noun or conceptualizing, the process of clarifying. This is nothing but the scope, oh sorry, the statement of the problem. You will see that one in your research paper, dissertation paper. Apart from the title, there is always one perspective like the statement of the problem. Statement of the problem is nothing but to exemplify your title. That is, whatever the title you have taken, if the title is a misnomer, if the title is not giving the exact meaning of what you are trying to achieve, so statement of the problem exemplifies it. So like that one, the conceptualization is the same thing. It is trying to clarify what you mean. So see, example, high crime rate adolescent years. That is this adolescent people, because you see this is always a kind of um, travel turn issue. Travel turn issue in what sense? Whenever we are talking about children, now up to what age in India, or rather in all over the world, you can say up to what age the kids will be called as children?
12.
Then after 12,
Adolescent.
now see here what they are saying, begins at about 17 years of age. This is a high crime, that is high crime late adolescent years. That is a 17, 18. So you are saying that. Okay. Now you are saying adolescent, birth cohort, people born in a given time. Now see 12, some, but in our case, in what you were saying, 12 is very much okay. But you see, if you go to the West, or if you see the West, many of the mm, countries they are actually considering 13 is the adulthood. Okay, so that is a big problem. Each and every country they are having their own rule, but the conceptualization is like that. So here you see high crime rate adolescent years. So might be So some people will not understand that, or not actually we are also not understanding that one. High crime rate, late adolescent year. Late adolescent year means what? So now clarification is coming like that one begins at about 17 years of age. Now birth code. Birth code means what? People born in a given calendar year. So this conceptualization is nothing but exemplifying, clarifying the concept with the annotations. This is known as conceptualization. Then for empirical research, we talked about the variable. Variable is nothing in very serious, you know that one. The characteristics of anything, one unit of analysis to another for one unit of analysis over time. A characteristic that can vary from one unit to another unit. A concept that varies. This is also variable. Now I am asking you two questions. No, one question, but having two answers, or you can give. Now give me the example of two finite variables. Give me the example of two finite variables. One variable which always increases and another variable which always decreases. And this should come from Shagota.
Sir, can you repeat again, please?
Give me the example of two variables out of which one is always ever increasing variable. Okay, positive one. And another one is the negative variable, that is which always decreases, but both are variables. Value of one is always increasing, value of one is always decreasing. You know, variable is what? Variable is nothing but one concept or idea or one thing where the value of it is always changing. Okay.
Sure, I cannot say.
Can you say what is a variable?
Characteristic.
See, variable is nothing but one entity. Variable is nothing but one entity, the value of which is not static. Static variable is constant. As for example, whenever I am saying pi, value of pi is a constant because it is what? It is always 22 by 7. It's constant. But you see, whenever I am saying that one, I have X apple. This X can be changed. Right now I am having 2, and tomorrow morning I can have 3. Yesterday I can have 4, that is day after tomorrow I will have 4. So that is what the variable. Variable is nothing but one idea or concept with value of which always changes. Might be positive, might be negative. So I asked you, give me the name of one variable which is always increasing. Joydeep, বলা যাবে?
Yes, sir. I am
You
thinking about it.
you are thinking about it. Okay. Now see, I am giving you the example. The value variable which is always increasing your age.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
The variable which is ever increasing your age, because the 5 minutes back what value was there, right now it's increased. And you will be amused to know that one value of the variable which always decreases, that is the length of cigarette size. Got it?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
Okay. So whenever the cigarette is there and you are rather taking the cigarette, you will see that one value of length of it will always decrease. It will never increase. So you have to keep that one in your mind. That is why these are the static. So these are rather, you can say that one, these variables are like that. That is, one is ever increasing, another one is always decreasing. No one can say that one when I. my age is. So you, yes, you can say that one. You can quote Sukumar Rai and say that one, that is বয়স বাড়ে না, তখন 40, 40-এর পরেই আবার 39, 38, এরকম দিয়ে শূন্য, আবার শূন্য থেকে 1, 2, 3, 4 চলে এসেছে। তো সবাই তো সুকুমার রায় নন, তো ফলে আমাদের বয়স বাড়ে। So that is the problem. That is, we are having some kind of increasing properties, that is age. Okay. So this is the variable. So variable, the statistics. In statistics, you know that one variable plays a big role, and we we take a lot of variables there. And hypothesis. This is the last thing today I am saying. Now, what is the hypothesis? See, hypothesis and opinion is having two different things. Hypothesis is a testable statement about how two or more variables are expected to relate to one another. One. Hypothesis is simply a formal version of a hunch or speculation that is usually based on a theory. Hypothesis. Okay. That is what you can do, theory or rather than. So now you see a testable statement, hypothesis must be tested, where two or more variables are expected to relate one another. Whenever you are saying that one, if you consume tobacco, you will die. Now you have to test it whether this death and the tobacco consumption is having the relationship inverse or rather the equivalent relationship, whether the inverse relationship or rather the simple relationship or a single kind of relationship or one-way relationship. Yes, dependent relationship. If you consume tobacco, then obviously there will be. Now you have to find out that one whether the tobacco is containing that oncogen or not, which induces or enhances the mortal rate in cancer. One. Second one is the hypothesis is simply a formal version of a hunch. A hypothesis, a formal version of a hunch or speculation that is usually based on a theory. Many times it's not the theory also. Here it is the exaggeration. So they have written a theory, but I'm not taking this one. This is what a hypothesis is simply a formal version. Formal version. Hypothesis. You are writing that. A hunch, speculation that is based on something like that one. That boy is looking at me for the last 30 days. Might be he is having some kind of. So that guard is rather simply. So this is what the hypothesis that there is a very bigger chance that hypothesis will be null and void. But this thing can be there. At the same time, hypothesis can be a formal version. So as because librarians, so this hypothesis, this is not a hypothesis rather, but I'm saying that one. But you can say, you can use it. You know that one, Dr. Ramakrishna, Professor Ramakrishna Saha, I do not know whether you know him or not. Professor Ramakrishna Saha, he was associated with BLA right now, very older fellow. And I think many of you haven't seen him. He is having a very good book on public library movement in West Bengal. Ramakrishna Shah. And Ramakrishna Shah was our teacher in Jadavpur University. And believe me, the whole session, what he told us, we didn't understand a single word of it. And ironically, he knew that one too. He understood that one too. And at the same time, whenever, at each and every time, or so rather after a frequent period of time, 2 or 3 months, he used to say in the class like that one. আমি যেটা বলেছি তোমরা কি সেটা বুঝেছো? And we used to say that one, no. Then he used to say like that, আমি যেটা বুঝেছি সেটা যে তোমরা বোঝোনি, সেটা যে আমি বুঝেছি সেটা কি তোমরা বুঝেছো? And that was the dialogue. And you see why I'm saying that one. So Ramakrishna Shah, Professor Ramakrishna Shah, was having a very peculiar type of hypothesis regarding librarians. He used to say that one formal version of a hunch. The librarians in college and school libraries, they are rather getting more salary than that what they deserve for. Okay. He was having this hypothesis. That is, he always thought that one, the college librarians and school librarians are getting more salary, or rather, the amount of salary they are getting that is much more heftier than that of the work they usually do in their job. And he always stated that one, if you really have a goodwill, you can do a lot. But you people are not having any mind. One day someone asked him, you better open your mind and say that what we need to do. And then he closed his mind in such a way that no one ever rather having that courage to open it. And that was the problem. Okay. So this is the hypothesis. Clear? So we can go for more. Okay. Now see dependent variable. A dependent variable is affected or influenced by another variable. So now see, today whenever I started my class, I saw that one only Shagata was present. Okay. So as I am rather one dependent variable, because only one fellow is there, and if I take the class with one fellow, then other fellows will shout and they will say that one, sir, I was not there, you stated all such things, I'm not getting, I'm not having the internet connectivity, so what I can do, I missed your class, so many things. So then I asked Sagata, that is what can we do? Then she's generous enough, and she told me that one, sir, I'm quitting and I'm calling both of them. And ultimately she could call Joydeep. And so this is what is happening. You see, dependent variable, if three is there, if one, that is myself, the teacher of this class, is dependent on you three, if, or rather three or one or two or three, if there is not more than two, then myself, the variable, the dependent variable, I cannot take the class because I have to repeat this one. So dependent variable is that one, that is the value of that variable depends on other variable. Value of that variable depends on other variable. In our department, we have two one two students. One is known as Tasbir Alam. You know that one. Tasbir means picture. Tasbir Alam. But Tasbir. And another one is a Reshma Siddiq. Reshma. And Tasbir and Reshma, they are having a very good relationship. Might be too much of mental bond. And whenever we see that one, Tasbir is there. And we immediately understand that one, Reshma will be there too. So that is what the dependent variable. And whenever we see that one Reshma is there, we can understand that one, that is Tasbir will also be there too. This is known as dependent variable. Clear? Is it clear?
Killer,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is what a dependent variable. An independent variable is something where that thing is never so. That variable is something like that one, independent. Have you ever seen the Hirokraj Adeshe?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who is Borfi?
So the child.
No, the Borfi, the magician.
Oh, God, yeah.
right? Now,
Follow.
Burfi, the magician, is the independent variable. He stated that when I am not for anyone, আমি একক, আমি কারণ নই, আমি একক. This individuality, echo, this seems that one, this tells that one. You are independent variable. You are not with anyone, but you are with everyone. That is the independent. So with this one, I think it will be better because I see I have 41 slides. So next day I will continue this one. So if you have anything to ask, you can ask me, or rather I'll quit you. So now see one thing I'm telling you. So did you get all the things I tried to say you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I already recorded this video and I'll be posting that one in the YouTube. No problem. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, we saw a notice in university website regarding form fill up of research ethics,
Yes.
Google Form.
Research ethics. You people have to. So do you are the current batch? Do you have to go for that one also?
So that's why we are asking.
Okay, let me talk with Anjan. Anjan means the HRDC director. I am talking with Anjan, and I will let you know tomorrow. Okay. Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
one thing,
Yes.
sir, we have applied for institutional email ID.
Yes. Okay, now see, so Jaideep, I got that one, both of you. Actually, all three of you applied that one. But this corona is rather spread it in such a way, right now people are not going over there. Our computer center is also facing some bit of trouble. But however, today I'm forwarding that one and let me talk with Anirban, our system administrator. Then I will let you know. By tomorrow, you will get both of the things. Okay, that is what's happening with your remote access at the same time. What's happening with your RPE?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.